Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be setting up our family budget for the month of June, and I'm using a kit from Truce Paperie. This is a monthly kit, and I also added on an extra set of transparent stickers. I'm starting with the monthly overview, and I found that I really like whitening out the title before putting down the top banners. This kit is designed to use the days of the week that are printed on the page, so I just try to get these top banners as close to the top edge as I can. And I use the top edge as a guide to lay down the sticker straight. Then I add these long strips to cover up the kaleidoscope design. Now I'm going to be filling in the boxes that are not in the month of June with these scallop stickers. This page is where I write down all of the transactions for the 5 categories that we are keeping track of. So all that there is left to do on this page is make myself a little key. I color code the 5 different categories to try to make it easier when I'm doing my weekly check-in. Now I'm flipping back to the very first page in the month. This is the page right next to the June tab, and this is where I like to keep our June budget. This is a great overview of the entire month. I will be able to see our income, expenses, and savings. At the top, I will be starting with our income. For the most part, our income doesn't change, but this month we actually had an unexpected expense with our rental property. We had to get the water heater replaced, and it ended up costing about the same amount that we would have received. But thankfully, we do have the VA disability that has really allowed us to live comfortably and save up for things like this. Below the income, I am setting up our expenses. I like to split our expenses into variable and fixed, and it really just allows me to get all of our expenses down on one page. It can get a little confusing because some of our expenses are paid for on credit cards, which are also listed as expenses. So I put a star next to those expenses that are paid on credit cards. Credit cards aren't for everyone, but we really like to take advantage of the reward programs that come with these credit cards. But as far as any changes for this month, I do feel that our utilities are going to jump quite a bit because we have been having pretty hot weather. The air conditioning has been running. Our pool pump is running several hours a day, so I will be interested to see what those numbers end up being. I kept the grocery budget the same because we did get close to that last month. For both dining out and gas, I increased both of those categories from $200 to $250. We're definitely over budget for dining out. I had mentioned before that we are trying to tip a lot extra during this time, and we really have been going through a lot more phases of me not really wanting to cook and getting takeout more. For gas, we actually did not go over budget last month, but my husband has been going into work a bit more often than previously, so I did add a little bit of a buffer just in case he ends up going in a lot more frequently this month. In May, there was one week where he mainly went into work, and there was only one day where he actually was able to work from home. He commutes an hour and a half away, so that can add up pretty quickly. Household is staying the same, and for sinking funds, I did add another $1,000, but I will talk more about that when we get to the sinking funds page. As far as our fixed expenses, we actually just closed on a refinance for our house in California. The changes won't be shown this month, but for the next couple of months, we actually won't have a California mortgage, and then in August or September, we will have a lower payment. Although the amount that I have written includes the extra principal that we pay every month. I had left our gym expense blank because we hadn't been paying that for the past couple of months, but apparently they are back open because we just received our first charge a couple days ago, but we probably won't be going back for a while. Below all of our expenses, I write down our potential savings and actual savings, and the little piggy bank sticker is also from Truce Paperie. It's just on a separate sheet. Flipping to the notes page, I am starting with this really pretty floral wreath. For the box in the top right, I like to write down all of our June goals. We are currently actually working on refinancing our Washington house now that our California refinance is closed. In the box on the top left, I like to write down all of the events that are happening in the month of June. At the very bottom of that box, I like to keep track of my credit score, and these credit score stickers are also a separate budget sticker sheet from the Truce Paperie. In the little box on the right below our goals, I write down any notes that I need for next month. But anyways, going back to the this month box, we have a couple birthdays, my cousin's graduation. It's also Father's Day, and then my brother is visiting the weekend of Father's Day. Now I'm flipping to the opposite page where I like to write down my calculations for the month. This is where I like to figure out how much I need in the account for the first paycheck and the second paycheck. Sometimes I will need to transfer money into our checking to cover all of our bills, and sometimes I need to transfer money out so that we don't have too much in checking. Going back to the last box at the very bottom, I like to keep track of all of our debt. I want to see our total amounts for my student loans, our 2 cars, and our 2 houses. It's encouraging to see these numbers go down, and I am almost done paying off my student loans. I believe August will be my last payment. Due to COVID, we are currently not getting charged interest, so I'm just going to be paying that off as scheduled. Going past the monthly overview and getting into the first notes page, I am starting by whiting out these hexagons. And for these pages, I will be using the transparent stickers, so I'm writing directly on the paper. This first page is for our weekly check-in, and this is a great page to have to help you stay within budget. Since I rely on my monthly overview for my weekly check-in, I like to divide the month into 4 weeks, and I try to go across the row from Sunday to Saturday and count that as 1 week. The first and the last week always vary with the amount of days. In the month of June, the first week will have 6 days, and the 4th week will have 10 days. Lately, I've been trying to not have any transactions on the last day of the month so that I can film, edit, and upload my results video pretty closely to the end of the month. As you can see, all of these sections are repeating from week 1 to week 4. We have our 5 categories that we are tracking, which include groceries, dining out, gas, household, and unbudgeted. The next column is how much was spent that week for each category. And then we have the amount that is remaining from the total budget for that category. And then in the last column, I like to calculate how much is remaining per week. So at the end of week 1, I will calculate how much is left in the budget, and then I will divide by 3 because there are 3 weeks remaining. And then for the 4th week, since there are no weeks remaining, I just have a little section to write any notes to explain why we are under or over budget. At the very bottom, I have our totals for the entire month. Our budget is $1,400 this month, and then I'll be able to write how much was actually spent and if that is over or under budget, and a spot for any notes. This page is the main reason I purchased the extra set of transparent stickers. 1 page comes with 4 strips, and I like to use 5 in this page. It acts as a highlight and divider for each week, and it really allows me to have enough space to fit all of these weeks on 1 page. On the opposite page, this is where I like to keep my spending log. This page is intended to serve 2 purposes. For one, it allows me to keep track of all my orders, to make sure that they get shipped and delivered. And especially now that so many orders are getting delayed, it is really nice to see what orders are still on their way. The other purpose is for me to get an idea of how much I spend on stickers and planner supplies. It is supposed to help me realize that maybe I don't need everything that I see on Instagram. And for the past couple of months, I have been avoiding this page and only really filling it out once or twice a month. So I haven't really been seeing how much I'm ordering until the month is almost over. And this month, I'm trying to get back to what I was doing earlier in the year and filling this out on a weekly basis. I also decided to add a post-it note to this page and write down all of the orders that I knew I was going to be placing, like the subscriptions to Sweet Kawaii Design and Simply Gilded. And I even wrote a note that the Coffee Monsters Co. was having new releases on the 20th. It has definitely helped me a lot already. I'm trying not to get too excited because we do have some time before the month ends. Although I will say that organizing all of my new stickers was probably the main reason I've been resisting buying anything else. And I still have quite a bit of orders from May that have not been delivered yet. But anyways, if you are struggling with trying not to spend as much, I do highly recommend this page as long as you check in with it pretty often. Flipping over to the next page, I will be using the regular sticker paper, so I'll be writing directly on the sticker. This first page is my transaction log for the sinking funds, and I put the transaction log first just because it's easier for me when I'm doing my budget results video. I write in all of the amounts for the sinking funds, and it's just easier to not have the coil right next to where I'm trying to write. But this page is pretty simple to set up. I just have the date, amount, category, and description, and this makes it really easy for me to calculate how much will be taken out of our sinking funds. Finally, we have our sinking funds page. I just started our sinking funds at the beginning of this year, and we have a ton of categories because I've been wanting to do sinking funds for a really long time, and I've been writing myself notes of what I think we should have. So it's been really exciting for me to finally have sinking funds, and I'm definitely learning and adjusting as I go. Normally, the amount that I tried to add to sinking funds is $2,000, but we did have an extra paycheck in the month of May, so I decided to try to use some of that towards sinking funds since we had such a big deficit in the home maintenance category. Usually I calculate everything while I'm filming, but this month I decided to calculate it off camera just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Some of the categories have a fixed amount added every month, and some of them are a bit more flexible, like clothes and makeup. So this month I did try to minimize the ones that are more flexible so that I can add as much to home maintenance as I could. Starting with our 10-year, this one is fixed at $300 a month. For clothes for my husband and clothes for myself, I added 10 each to those. And then clothes for the boys, I added 20. For makeup, I added 25, only because I know that I have quite a few items to purchase soon. For entertainment, I decided not to add any since we haven't really been using this account much. For gifts, I added 260 because we had a couple of graduations and Father's Day this month. Holidays, I add 125 every month. Travel, I added 100. Medical 150, Invisalign 100, car maintenance I added 200 to make up for the deficit. For home maintenance I added 1,250, which means we will still be negative in this category for at least another month. For school I added 300. For diapers and pull-ups I did not add any. Dill is set at 75. Family photos is set at 25. And finally, I added a new category for car registration, which were the big unbudgeted items last month. And calculating it all out, we need about $50 a month. So that all adds up to $3,000. And in my budget results video, I will be showing you how I close out my sinking funds. But that is all for our June family budget. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.